Alright, hello and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV. Tonight I've managed to get my red mage to 90, so I can now do the full role quest for the caster DPS. And I have not done the event for the Valentines, actually. I think it's in Limsa. I should probably do that first, so that people have time to come in. Yeah, that way anyone specifically for the caster role quest can head right on over. Right? I do believe this requires going to the aft castle. Let's go here real quick. If not, I'll double check the website. Actually, there's an NPC that tells me where I can go if I need to. Yeah, here we are. Good evening to you, adventurer. May the flowers of love ever blossom in your heart. Should you desire to learn more, please don't hesitate to ask. We of the proudish guardian house of Valentone spread ourselves across Orza this day in the hope we may give budding sweethearts the courage to take the first step together. Festivities take place in Gridania. If you wish to take part, go there and visit Lisette de Valentone, lady of the house. She'll see to it you didn't want for ardor and affection, the season of love. What is this day exactly? It's a time of celebration, which we honor the life of Countess Arabelle de Valentone, a high lady of Ishgard who struck out against her life of positive detachment and risked all in pursuit of pure and all-consuming love. In the many years since the Countess's passing, a tradition has become established among the Ishgardian populace. Every year at this time, they had strived to emulate her passion and bravery, plucking up their own courage and bestowing a token of love on the object they are fishing. Actually, I should probably do the others, just because they're probably relevant for this one. Who is Lisette? Direct descendant of Countess Arabelle von Valentone, and her very image, both in beauty and spirit, whether it's by her tireless exhortations or simply her captivating presence, there is none who stokes the fires of passion more than she. Men want her, women want to be her. Many are the other way around, but how can my words do justice to such delight as hers? Lady Astrid belongs to the newest generation of House Valentone's emissaries. As a relative, the desire to see others' hearts skip a beat does run in her noble blood. If you would aid this diminutive avatar of love in her effort to saturate the realm in Ador, you need but travel to Gridania. A Moogle who has long labored along the ways of love by traveling hither, thither, and even yon to deliver gifts, missives, and packages, all in the name of affection. Many of those are those who make wishes upon his heart-shaped palm as they pray for a love to be requited or for their heart's desire to be realized. He is first and foremost an emissary, however, so should you require a special delivery, it is him you ought to turn. Alrighty. Alright, a Gridania, so we're gonna have to teleport here. A new Gridania here. Wonder what's going on there. Valentine's Day. Okay, so that's gonna... any seasonal event that goes on in this area goes on in the amphitheater, so let's go there. Generally, seasonal events only appear in the 3 main city-states that you can start the game in, which makes sense because they want players to be able to visit them no matter what city you start in or what expansion you're currently on. And they're always in the same general locations, so if you don't know where one is, you can just keep going to the common ones. Set. No love lost. The set has her midst full of this Valentine's Day. Tis the season of ardor and affection, and Rome is thick upon the air. I, Lisette, of the House Valentone, entreat you, dearest one, to breathe deep and take love's richness, incloy rosy radiance into your bosom. Hold now a moment, traveler, this face. Yes, I know well, you're love's humblest servant. Yeah, the dialogue changes a bit based on whether you've visited the events in the past or not. Ardor and adoration's foremost champion. Ah, what delight to see you once again. In such blessed times as these, alas, every rose has thorns, and even this fairest of seasons not without trials. Indeed, troubles afoot, and it threatens the hearts of all this realm. A fellow of ours, a Moogle well-versed in the myriad matters of the heart, has found himself in quite the quagmire. Uh, Sweet thing of which we speak goes by the name of Kupka, and is an emissary of penned passions and all. Dane's Day is a joyous occasion, but not always so for those who regret themselves as post-Moogles of the realm. Kupka has his poor paws full, delivering heart-warming missives far and wide, hither and thither. Though he'll never admit it, I fear he's at wit's end. But you, benevolent venture you are, can provide precisely what our pursuit Herald requires oh so desperately. Pray, lend your talents, and retrieve him the edge upon where you will submit. Might as well go with it. Marvelous, you're here through and through. I will be relieved. I'll fetch him. I do like my red mage outfit, even if it is mostly blue. Oh yeah, that is a heart-shaped palm. I don't know if that's pom-pom. I don't know if he put a heart on top of the normal one, or if it's just normally shaped that way. Ah, yours is a face I know well. No introduction necessary, friends, for renowned are you that I feel I have known you all my life. My post-Moogle compatriots speak of your daring do almost nightly, Kupo. Oh, they will bristle into puffballs when I tell them we were acquainted. Oh yeah, during the Realm Reborn storyline, there's a side quest chain where you help the post-Moogles, but mostly just help them deliver stuff and deal with whatever problems crop up along the way. Pretty straightforward, really. I liked it, and it does, of course, that's what he's referencing here. Now then, I hear from Astrid that you will help me in my hour of need, for which I'm most grateful. It's not the work itself that vexes me, but rather a colleague of mine, a clueless courier newly inducted to our vocation. Every Valentine's Day, we emissaries overtax, and this season's no exception. I had hoped to nip this issue in the bud by petition his deputy post-Moogle for a helping paw. He obliged, we sent someone altogether worthless, an undisciplined tyrant. To make matters worse, the daft thing is painfully ignorant of the ways of the heart. You should see the ways he takes to clientele. What an ugly gift. Love must be blind. Such nonsense. Left her own devices, I fear she'll ruin the day. Give the girl your axe a cry. The impulse is very much with me, I assure you, but I can't really turn away very much assistance for which I begged. I would come across the most wretched and great ever have wings. I haven't had the time to train her, let alone the patience. Oh, fret not, our harried herald. Yet are right to assist our help, for I have come upon the cleverest solution to your predicament. We shall enlist the help of our hardy adventurer and House Valentine's very own Astrid to accompany said callous courier. Ah, you cannot be surprised at my suggestion. 'Tis a most natural fit. God is so skilled in Mary's subjects will teach us the delicate art of the post, while Astrid will instruct the Moogle in the ways of ardor and adoration. A splendid plan, if I say so myself. Are you both sure you're up to the task isn't too great a bother? What a seasonable relief indeed, Chocobo. I shall bring you to her at once, for there's not a moment to lose. I introduce you my fledgling post-Moogle charge, Puckty Pico, and her loyal Chocobo. Oh dear, this is awkward. I confess your friend's name has slipped my mind, Chocobo. Salutations one all. As for my Chocobo, his name can't have slipped your mind, because it hasn't one. I simply refer to as my partner, dear. When I'm feeling particularly silly, Bird. Many an acquaintance of mine has attempted to provide him a name or two, but none of them ever stick. I always forget them. In any case, you may call him whatever you like. It makes no difference, least of all to him. Chirp, chirp. Wait, wait. Yes, well, be that as it may, I have tasked Puckty with 3 deliveries, all of which I must ask you to join her on. These 2 are to accompany you. Very well. Who am I to turn away, whoever you are? Our first stop is the Carpenter's Build. Bird and I shall await you there. I can see the absent-mindedness of them already, I suppose. I can understand it usually takes time. It can sometimes take time to. Actually, I should probably bring Gunbreaker here. Oh, the Carpenter's Guild is in the other area, so I should probably teleport to the main Aetheryte then. I believe those guys, salvagers, are mostly for reclaiming items from achievements and stuff that if you've lost them for any reason. I do quite like my Gunbreaker's outfit. It's mostly just some stuff from the Alexander raid, but it still looks nice, I think. Oh, the recipient is on an errand or some such. A pity. As for the parcel, since no one's available to take it, I say we just leave it any old place. There are other assignments to be getting on with, after all. I say, now hold on a moment. I'm no post-mogul granted, but surely abandoning the package like this before a door seems a touch disrespectful, does it not? What I have here is a gift, an item crafted with love and care, just to be treated. Who's it from, exactly? A young woman, if memory serves, daughter to the man meant to receive this. Oh yeah, there's something about her training in the Culinarians Guild, I think. It's hazy. Mainly, the main thing here is if we leave it just in front of the door, it'll get stolen. Or at least it might be. Let me make an interesting point. Man's out on an errand, yes. Since he's with the Carpenters Guild, it stands to reason he's out collecting lumber, likely from the Botanists Guild. We shall start our search there, and from Valentine's Day, it must be delivered straight to the recipient's hands. Let's see here. The Botanists Guild is all the way over there, so yeah, probably best to take the teleporter. Here we are. I'm not such a big a fan of the plate armor a lot of the tanks have, but I do quite like the more thick robe aesthetic that this outfit has. Clearly durable, to be sure, but not like the bulky armor stuff. I believe we found the man for whom the package is intended. Yes, what is it? Delivery for you, sir. You went to the guild when it came calling, so we took the liberty of tracking you down. Alright, give it a... Oh, what's this? Valentine's Day. Now, this is a surprise. My daughter... chocolates. My daughter's an apprentice to the Culinarians Guild, you see. I'd heard she'd been selected to make chocolates for the festivals, but I certainly didn't expect to receive any myself. Wonderful, you did. It is not every day one's daughter is accorded the honor of crafting beloved confectionery. She must be quite the culinarian. That she is. My pride and joy, that girl. What a pleasant surprise this package was. Certainly made my day. I can't thank you enough for bringing it to me all the way you have. I'll never forget this kindness. Goodness, seems like a bit of a reaction to be handed some food, isn't it? This is what savvy post-moguls call customer satisfaction. Agreed, there's a lesson to be learned here, Pukti. Joy is not meant to be kept to oneself. It is a feeling that yearns to be shared, and we played a part of bringing him happiness, so little wonder he wished to share this with us. Joy is meant to be shared. When we put it that way, I suppose that's the forward concept. When something makes me smile or laugh, I do talk my companion's ear off about it. I'm made all the happier for it. Okay, that I can relate with. If the fact I talk on and on like Urianje wasn't proof enough. But believe it or not, I actually do have a bit of a shy spell when I'm speaking with new people. Yeah, anyone who knows me probably might find this a bit weird, but I actually do have trouble speaking with new people. In fact, even when I started streaming, I had trouble just talking normally, but I like to think I've gotten better at it. Just be careful though, get to know me and I talk your ear off about basically everything. Oh, but enough about that, time is wasting. Best be off for the next delivery. Our recipient awaits at the Whistling Miller by the looks of it. Oh, I might as well just run here then. I do like they made an effort to make the job running animations a bit different for each. I wonder, how are you doing wherever you are? I wish I could hear from your adventures. It's been ages since I heard word. I'm slightly concerned for our fair recipient. She appears to be in a state. Pardon me, but I have a delivery for you, ma'am. For me? Oh, it's from my dearest companions. And look what this is. Pink seashells. They're not extraordinary. Look at the vibrancy. Happy Valentine's Day. How delightful. Shells, empty ones. You can't even eat those. Those received chocolate. That's abominably rude. You must forgive our friend here. She's not accustomed to deliveries such as these. Oh, there's nothing to forgive, I assure you. I can hardly be upset after receiving a gift like this from a loved one I've not seen in some time. My friend, you see, is an adventurer in their own right. They enjoy being cryptic, though, and never tell me where they've been. Rather, they make me guess by dropping hints in the form of curiosity like these. What a blessing this parcel is. I was only just wondering how they're faring when their journeys have brought them. Thank you, Miss Postmoogle. You've brightened my day. Love is mystery indeed, and a funny one at that. People show love in a bunch of different ways, after all. It's my pleasure to tell you, Pukti, that love is a many-splendored thing, and that we each have our own unique way. The friendship between that girl and her adventure companion is a perfect example. That gift, while appear mere flippery to you, is a treasure to her eyes. It's important for adventurers to check in with loved ones. It's often said that no news is good news, but I very much doubt that to be the case for those in that line of work. So you mean to say this is a friend's way of telling that all is well, the way of assuaging worries? It is about their safety? Fascinating. To be sure, were I separated from my bird here by the expansive seas or mountain range, I'd like to hear from time to time. Perhaps not every day. That would be irksome, but knowing he's in good health would not be disagreeable, I suppose. Yeah, you never know what's going on if someone vanishes for a while. Anyway, no sense in losing ourselves in thought, not while a parcel gets burning a hole in my satchel. Our next delivery is Apuku Falls. Oh, that was easy. Really, that should be here by now. Don't tell me my gift has fallen afoul of bandits on the way here. This will be our third and final delivery of the day. Goodness, I don't know how these Muggles do it. Greetings, sir, for I have a parcel from the Ulda Permanent Art Dealers, Chocobo. Dang, between this and Fake Grand Order, I've really been Amazon a go-through, a runaround, haven't I? I was trying to figure out the right word, but it's that situation where it's on the tip of your tongue, but you just can't reach it, so you have to figure out something as close as you can. Doing the rounds, that's right. That's what I was looking for. Greetings, sir. I have for you a parcel of Ulda's Prim Art Dealers, Chocobo. At last, her earnings, they've arrived. Oh, gracious, how stunning they are. Oh, her earrings, not earnings. This craftsmanship, this meticulous attention to detail. I couldn't have hoped for a better present for my wife. She'll be over the moon to receive them. Birthday's coming up, you see. I wanted to ensure a special day is just that. I even gave Coop's palm a vigorous pat. I heard that one touch is enough to bring Keppel happiness for years to come. Let's hope so. You did well to bring these all the way here without a scratch on them, you know. I began to worry by the time I received them. Poor things would be nothing more than scuffed, dented rocks. You have a bright future ahead of you in postal service, my friend. Now this is odd. There's a flutter in my chest to tickle my stomach, Chocobo. If I taken ill, do the compliments and words of gratitude always elicit this sort of response? Trust me when you are not ill, Brookty. That flutter you feel, those ticklish sensations of fondness, a form of love indeed. It is made manifest by the man's appreciation that were you provided. Oh, it's this love nonsense. Why, it's not nonsense at all, is it? Quite wonderful, actually. I liken it to that feeling when Bird and I settled down for an afternoon nap in the Twelveswood. When I tucked myself under his wing and were warmed by the sunlight of the trees. Perhaps you haven't mastered the concept entirely, but I do believe we're making Perhaps you haven't mastered the concept entirely, but you are making strides in the right direction. You seem certainly more attuned to the ways of the heart than when we first made acquaintance, at any rate. Now the three parcels are reached the right hands, let's return to the amphitheater. No doubt Kupka is anxious to see how Mukti fared. That's too close to teleport, so I just need to use the sprint button here. I do appreciate that they explore those many different kinds of love. Perhaps not as much as I'd like, because they only, like I said, these, like I mentioned before, seasonal events in this game are really just a couple cute quests with a little storyline that wraps up really quickly. Now they do eventually add into a larger storyline, but... Our emissary of Ardor and affection to us. Oh, whoops. I trust all is well in the hearts of the realm. Does the language of love still elude our perplexed post-Moogle? Let's inform Kubla Koop of our efforts. I'm sure he's on pins and needles. Though I can't say for certain, I'm beginning to understand why everyone has been carrying on about this love business. Its mysteries are less well mysterious. Here they are, agents of affection, our heralds of the heart, return before time, Kupo. Tell me, how went your deliveries? Splendid, each and every one. The recipients were all thrilled to see their parcels, and I'm pleased to say, Pico learned something along the way. Yes, I do believe. Love is quite a bit more complicated than I first imagined to be. There are hidden depths to it, and I didn't see before. I may not be an expert on the subject yet, but I'd like to think my ignorance is not quite as direct as it was dire as it was before. You're making progress, certainly, Kupo. I'm glad of it. As long as you do not offend anyone, I could ask for more. Anyway, I'm indebted to you, Ashford and Kota. You spared at least 3 citizens of the realm from potential cruelty, however unintended it may seem. No, I'm being too harsh. You've shown a true conceited effort to understand the labyrinthian complexity of the heart. And as a reward, I'm inclined to set you to another task. For in truth, your work is not yet finished. Much more is there to be done this Valentine's Day. When you have time to speak to me again, I'll tell you all about it. Post-Moogle barding. Oh, that's the barding the, Okay, so I didn't realize that wasn't 1 week. Interesting. Loves labors. Your Chocobo is the only mount you can customize with outfits, but it's still one more than most MMOs have, that's for sure. So while I do wish they'd expand on it a bit, it's still a pretty nice thing to have. You can also change the Chocobo's colors. I haven't messed with mine too much, though, because I don't use it, unfortunately. They do make sure it's a very special one, though. There you are, not a moment too soon. Your unwavering devotion and maids of art or affection, love and romance, courtship and intimacy is both commendable and deeply appreciated. So the task of which I spoke involves a woman by the name of Alois, who only just posted a parcel with no small amount of urgency. However, she then returned, begging us to call off the delivery. Highly unusual, and her eyes, twin pools of sorrow. She fled straight away. Ere I could get my bearings, let her ask what troubles her so. Would you help me to seek her out? You're too kind. Now, for this young woman, she's an Elizan of great beauty, and thus should not be one easy one to overlook. Last I saw of her, she had just made a sharp left at the fork of the road, unless my eyes deceive me. Left, you say. That way lies the Great Loam Growery, if not mistaken. I'll accompany you there. Go to DB you two will look near Nofka's altar. Should you come upon her before we do, come to the Growery. I believe that's the Conjurer's Guild, so let's head over there. This woman here, could it be Alu? I'm not much of an aesthetic, but I know an else when I see one. Given Gridania is mostly humans and the humans and Elizan, the humans and elf equivalents, I'm surprised that you found her so quickly. But I guess can't look a gift horse in the mouth. Well, the fact we were able to find her so quickly is quite convenient. Who, me? Yes, I'm out. Well, then again, our character seems to have ridiculously good luck when it comes to finding people, so maybe that's why. Who, me? Yes, I'm Alan. So why do you ask? The Coop wants to see me. Whatever for? He's beside himself with worry, Coop. He said you turned tail and darted off, looking dreadfully stricken. Downright Maria. Listen, you can understand his concern, surely. I see. I do owe him an apology for worrying him as I have, an explanation for my frenetic flight as well. Coop stole the amphitheater, correct? I'll go to him at once. Actually, never mind, she's already gone. I suppose I shall go and fetch him then, shall we? Meet us at the amphitheater, and do hurry. We won't want her dashing off again. Well, yeah, at least we know where he is, since he directly told us. We'd better at least get another epiphany about love for our troubles. How fortunate you have come across with such ease. In retrospect, I realized my description was rather vague. Our character seems really good at finding people who are supposedly lost for a significant length of time, so I guess it makes sense. Such a look of oddbake I've seen in a woman, and there must be something we can do for her. Let us speak to Alosi, find out what upsets her so. First, let me start by saying how grateful I am that you would come to think and check on me. Truth of the matter is, I've received an offer of marriage. I meant to accept, which is why I came to you initially, Kupka. See that my reply be delivered safely. However, I was ready to tell him yes. I found myself hesitating more than I thought I'd been. I began to wonder if I was making a terrible decision, not for me, but for him as well. The man who seeks my hand is Ishgari nobility. He goes by the name Ezomile. At the moment, he is quite ill, seeking treatment here in Gridania. No misunderstand me, I was overjoyed to hear of his devotion. A life spent with him would be the most wonderful thing, but I'm immobile. All of the most common stock, no special than the weed underfoot. I wasn't raised with our aristocratic matters and the future wife his requires. Who am I to marry into nobility? I must destroy my previous missive and pen new letter, tell him I cannot go through. When I'll hand deliver, I won't have an emissary of love delivering such ill tidings. Now, I don't pretend to be an expert in the ways of heart, but isn't love and the desire to be with someone on? Desire for a trusted part in the world, someone who you can share your joys and your woes? You care for him, wouldn't you be upset? Wouldn't it upset you to do anything but? It certainly seems to have. I may not have much experience with this, but I know where I and my Chocobo would be separated. I wouldn't like it, not one bit. Don't believe in giving up before finding a solution, my friend. Verily, I am myself of Ishgard nobility and could speak thus the place of authority. Each of our houses has its own tradition. It is our titles that connect us, not our principles. Before making your decision, take counsel of your beloved and learn what his family values. Not to grieve more. After all, it is the doubts you harbor, not a lack of affection. If you believe his heart to be yours entire, then trust he will listen to your troubles, that you and he can solve the problem together. And one more. Explain what vexes you. Yes, I see your point. It's unfair of me to hide my feelings like this. He's owed honesty, but how does one even write such a letter? I would not even know where to begin. Perhaps you should explain your apprehension about fulfilling your duties as wife to a man of such a great house. Make clear that should you design to join his social milieu, you will require time to study, learn, and train before you'd be comfortable with it. As a word of warning, though, to compromise for a woman you are in order to bend to the rigors of nobility may leave you jaded, haggard, and altogether infuriated. Thus, because you first inquire as to whether his family is capable of accepting you as you are. I want to simply write down all your worries. I don't fancy myself a poet or passions, but something can be said for simply getting everything out in the open. All these days of great marriage, and each one should be given due consideration. But what say you? Which of these notions has struck a chord you? While it is important not to compromise who you are, being able to be flexible is also very important in a relationship. It's a lot of give and take, after all. But if it requires you to reinvent yourself from the ground up, that's no good. But at the same time, these two have a lot of connections here, so I think we should start from the very basics. Let's start from the beginning, exactly what your concerns are. Alright, thank you for your insight, everyone. I believe I know what I must do now. Then let us fetch you parchment, quill, and ink. Fortunate that you have us, you know, we emissaries are never far from instruments of the post. Why, I shall even provide you with Valentine's Day theme stationery. Yeah, above all else, communication is absolutely key to this, or at least that's my take on it. If all else fails, start with the basics, and the basics is communication. You can add further details like what you won't move on and what you're willing to be flexible with after that, but first and foremost, we need to get the problems out there. All that's done, all that's left is for him to read it. My darling's likely in the gentry ward. I know he likes sitting on solitude on the bench not far from the gates. He'll like it be there, like it's not. And that's why we shall try first, Quo. We'll be back with his response as soon as we are able. Tally ho! Good love's work awaits. Oh dear. I'm so fidgety I can't sit still for nerves. I probably should have spoken the others first. No, I can't take this any longer. If you stand idly by, my future decide without me. That does. I'm going this instant. Oh, and she's gone. Our duty as emissaries of love, affection demands we see that love, lore, and lasts through this trying time. We shall meet you at the gates. Will this be the day of rapturous reconciliations or doleful dissolutions? Either way, we are ardor and affection's faithful agents, and I have a duty to see this through to its conclusion. I don't know where this area is. Oh, I see where it is now. I'll definitely want to sprint through here. See, I don't really do much crafting or gathering. There might be different dialogue if you do regularly, but I don't, unfortunately. Well, I will say I do like the actual crafting system in this game, though. Well, it's a lot more involved than most games where you just gather all the ingredients, rub them all together, and you get an item, sometimes with the chance of great or success or failure. Man, there must be Isomile, of whom I spoke. Oh yeah, I should, speak to these guys first. Yes, might I help you? My goodness. My toes wound is up in one huge knot. Whoa, must be more nervous than I thought. Cody, you're gonna come, believe us, post Moogles to our work. I'm sorry to run off again like that, but I couldn't just wait around twiddling my thumbs another moment more. I have a letter from Miss Alois herself, Chocobo. Missive, my love, oh, thank you. Perhaps it's not my place, but if I may. Alice thinks a great deal of you. We watched her as she wrote you the letter, and you can see plain as day how much she cares. If there's love to be found in this world, it's there, with every word she put on that page. The heart and its intricacies aren't my forte, I admit, but if you're even half as much affection for her as she has for you, she shares something wondrous. I can only hope you can deal with whatever troubles come your way. The heart is my forte indeed, for one who claims such a thing, you show remarkable perspicacity in the matter. You're quite changed the Moogle I once knew. Color me impressed, Chocobo. You are good to concern yourselves over my and Alois's affairs. Your kindness is a great deal of credit. I shall pen my response this instant. Can I trust I finish? Please serve at your pleasure. Your trust is not misplaced, good sir. Did you hear that? He's going to reply. We shall return to my kiddo's amphitheater at once. I don't want to be here when he sent our post-Moogle friends all the way back there. Yes, it'd be rather awkward to have his letter, or his letter to have no recipient. Let us explain the situation to Lizette and wait for the delivery. I do like the 3 city-states you can start in for this game. They all have a very neat aesthetic to them. Here is a lot of natural stuff built in. A lot of natural buildings built out of either wood or built into the caves. Ul'dah is built entirely out of stone. Because it's in the desert, of course, but almost like a fortress in some ways. Not quite. Ishgard is more of the holy land of Crusaders and all that. Might as well buy one of these so I have one. I can put in my storage later, I guess. Right, I can just do this to make the player names disappear. Hope they return soon. I know I'm maybe being silly, but it's nervous to see my darling stay. But I'm rather nervous to see what my darling has to say. Let us hope this all ends in tears of joy rather than sorrow. Our emissary went of eminent emissary of adoration and affection is with us once more, and now that we are assembled, we only have to wait for the custodians of the supply. I feel sick to my stomach. What if I angered him? What if he calls off the whole thing? We've returned with your beloved painstakingly penned reply. Pico, I was drawn by your advice in particular. I wrote down my worries, concerns, and questions in clear, concise fashion. He responded with, well, some confusion seems, although now at least he's aware of what troubles me. That says he's grateful. He's very sweet here, you see. He tells me that we will together go down this list of mine and solve them one problem at a time. Where we live, how will be us to decide, how will be up to us, not his family. Yeah. Hey, if you have to do it one problem at a time, sometimes that's what you need to do. This sort of thing will take time no matter what. No point in rushing it. I've come to ensure my letters reached you and see if you've yet read it. After all, you do the same for me. It'd be kind to return the favor, wouldn't it? Oh, how embarrassing. You caught me spying, didn't you? You're embarrassed for what, pray? I found endearing, my darling. Ah, these companions of yours, they assist you in their writing, then we are in your debt. Alois, my love, what say you to tea at the Carline Canopy? There we can discuss our future, a conversation which is long overdue, I think. Oh, and the sunset makes it look that much better. Thank you, friends. Where would I be without your help? And I promise yours will be the first invitations we post once you've settled on a day. Goodness gracious me, deceive me, Poketopo, your palm. Why has adopted the very shape of the season, as love beyond compare, Kupo, and as much as mine, I flatter myself to think. I can't explain it, but seeing those two together brought a flutter to my chest, spring to my wings. Next thing I knew, my palm began to tingle in those peculiar ways. Well, that answers my question then. It's a marvelous thing to know that we had a hand in ushering Zomail and story to its next chapter, and to think it was all performed strictly to the art of the post. Affectionate missives are more than just silly folderol. I assume them to be. They show what's in their hearts like nothing else can, and we emissaries are their trusted custodian. That we are, Pukti. Oh, I do remember the letter. Oh, only do remember that letters require more than just love. They also need names and addresses. Speaking of names, perhaps you might bestow one upon your Chocobo. Think of it as a show of not only kindness, but love as well. Show of love, you say? I suppose you're right. I was never able to recall the names given by acquaintances, but I bet I could arrive at some that actually sticks. I'll give it some thought and make sure I've done this bird justice. Wait. My once foolish fledgling has wings of her own at last. How proud I am to see you soar. You're a credit to the emissaries of ardor and affection with your shaped palm. It is my most sincere honor to have you among our ranks, and I pray you will continue this revered work. Would love nothing more, Kupo. What joy to be blessed with her. The season of sublest is disheartening indeed to watch our numbers grow and grow, for with so many we can ensure ardor and affection accompany all the fair creatures of the realm, wherever their journeys take them. There was one year where the Valentines event required other people, but another person, but they haven't really done that since. I'm not sure if they felt it was a bit too much, or it was just a lot of work to require 2 players to interact to make it work right. Honor... well, what matters is I have the barding, so let's go ahead and use this. Better letters. Okay, so this is just repeatable if I want some of those, item emotes. If you're watching this and haven't seen those kinds of items before, I think I'm going here. Yeah, this is fine. Magic Prism. Basically, they give a little, effect around your character like that. They can be cute, I guess, but they don't really do much. Alright, well, I guess now we should return to Red Mage and head over to Razahan. Because we're going to be doing the caster's her quest line, and it's probably going to, if it's like anything like the melee DPS one I did on Reaper, it might take a little while, which is good. It should fill out the stream time perfectly fine. Although, where are they again? Where are they again? Ah, there they are. Follow the Radiant Host. Got it. A little out of the way, but not too bad, honestly. Like I mentioned, Razahan and the surrounding area is one of my favorites in the from Endwalker here. Guardian Delegate R.A. King Souls. He seeks a battle mage with courage unwavering. Well, Battleland Mage works well for Red Mage, I'd say. Ah, Lord Koda, I've awaited your come. This phenomenon wherein men turn to monsters, it pains me to say that Ishgard has not been spared. Dreaded blasphemy, a witch has appeared in the Holy See, and to compound the people's behavior, the beast resembles a dragon. 'Tis imperative to be vanquished without delay. And to that end, we've begun assembling a hunting party. Given the fear and despair may turn our allies against us, we're being stringent in whom we choose this duty. Yet, while we have confidence in the quality of our knights, the mission greatly benefits to have a mage, one who could stand unflinching in the face of fellow quarry. We would be hard-pressed to find an individual who fits the description better than you. Would you lend us strength and skill? You can count on me. We're in your debt. Just a moment while I relay the glad tidings command. Ishgard's had quite a few changes since Heavensward. Although granted, Heavensward was the first major expansion after the reboot in Realm Reborn, so I guess it makes sense that they'd have the most time to mix it up with things as time goes on. It is settled. Upon arriving in Ishgard, please make yourself to the Aetherite Plaza. Lord Artoriel will be there. Artoriel will be there to receive you. May the Fury guide you. Which one's Ishgard again? Here we are, Foundation. I haven't been to Ishgard in quite some time. Then again, Ishgard and Idleshire, the main hub towns of Heavensward, are ascending to Imperium. Wait, what? That's level 60 thing. I can worry about that later then. Yeah, it's a Heavensward content. Rowena's representative. One-stop shop for any, practically every piece of weapon gear and helpful items for elegant tombstones. Oh, I see. This is basically just a portable Rowena shop, so you don't necessarily always have to go to the same area. Alright, so you don't necessarily have to go to Idleshire, for example, to get these items. Or if you want higher level ones. Does it go higher level than 60? Let me check. No, this is all... Okay, yeah, this is all Heavensward content stuff. Okay. So this is just so you don't have to necessarily go to Idleshire. Looks like there's still people going to and fro here, though I guess there's still a number of job quests. Basically, when Heavenward came out, they decided to put all the new job quests in Ishgard, which is pretty neat and helped to expand the city a good bit, since there are a lot of specialists that aren't elsewhere. But the problem is that it also meant people had to go through Realm Reborn, and odds are, if you're watching this now, you're probably heard of how big of a slog the Realm Reborn content is, and it honestly still is even after the stuff they've done to shorten the amount of quests and content stuff. And that's why nowadays for new jobs like Red Mage here, introducing Stormblood, but it's not in any of the new jobs. It is, you simply go to Ul'dah and unlock it there. Likewise with Reaper. I unlock Reaper in Ul'dah, even though it's technically a Garli... It has its roots in Garlemald. Likewise, there's no prerequisites, I just have to be the level it starts at with something else. So yeah, they decided a job going forward will always be easily accessible and not tied to plot progression. Which I think is a good thing. After all, one of the first things I did when I opened up Endwalker was unlock Reaper, since I was hoping to do the new content with it. And as you saw might have seen in my stream of the main storyline, I eventually managed to do the main story with it. Here's our tutorial. Anyway, let's keep going. Koda, I've been expecting you. Words gonna express how heartening it is to hear you'll be fighting beside us. Allow me to echo that statement. Oh, hello, Amaric. Greetings, my friend. Lest you wonder, Lord Artorial and I are leading the effort to deal with a blasphemy. With your capable self in the fold, I've no doubt we shall succeed. Without further ado, I shall brief on the situation. It was a handful of days after the first beasts arrived at Razat Han. An elephant man was observed at the hopla on the pillars, walking with a very unsteady gait. All of a sudden, he buckled over as if in pain, and then before anyone knew what happened, he transformed to a terrible draconic beast. Well, this is Heavensward music. At the mere sight of this, many who chanced upon be present also turned, and regrettably the temple knights were forced to put them all down. The blasphemy itself, however, took wing and fled. Profane Fafnir, we've chosen to call it, after the Dragon Man of Ishgardi myth. Been playing a lot of games with Fafnirs lately. Wonder if eventually come to the others. Since that day, the beast often sighted in the skies above Ishgard. Well, it is technically a name from mythology, so it's basically free. Most games and stuff take mythology as free idea buckets, and why wouldn't they, really? The beast is often sighted in the skies above Ishgard. It does not attack, only circles menacingly for a time and disappearing again. It's just flying there, menacingly. Alas, these brief visitations are enough to cause people to turn, for fear and panic to spread further. Oh dear. So he really is flying there menacingly. As part of our investigation, we've sought to identify the man who became the blasphemy, but thus far we've learned not. This might be trouble if he's a mist, one of the kids abandoned in the slums. He might not have much. We have, however, identified a common thread between those subsequently turned. All were people of fervent faith, people such as priests and inquisitors. Oh my, you'd think those people would be one of the least likely to turn to despair. When the truth of our nation's history was laid bare, the legitimacy of the church was questioned. I guess that is true, yeah. Many Ishgardians struggle to reconcile the revelations with their beliefs, none more so than the pious. Such men and women we posit to be more than susceptible to despair and therefore transformation. Yeah. I mean, Ishgard was called the Holy See because it was basically a theocracy for the longest time. At this point in the story, it's been pretty much replaced with a proper kingdom structure of sorts. Or at least that's what they're doing to rebuild it, since, well, obviously everything was broken after Heavensward. It's a really complicated situation to kind of explain, and honestly, I think that's kind of the reason Heavensward is still looked at fondly even to this day. It was one of those. It was an expansion that was explicitly designed to have. While it did have some clear good and evil to it, there was a lot more gray than the other expansions. I mean, with Realm Reborn, it's very clear good and evil, and I think that was a good way to start out. Start out your story with clear good and evil stakes so that you can get invested. Then Heavensward started bringing in much more gray. Stormblood was a bit more straightforward, but it was unique because we were on the offensive against the Garlean Empire, attempting to liberate countries there. And of course, Shadowbringers completely threw everything to the wind. Then, as we learn the truth behind basically every major thing, and of course, Endwalker finally finishes that. So, yeah, you can see why Heavensward was seen a lot more fondly, especially since it was between ones that had a much more straightforward narrative. They promised that after Endwalker, they're probably going to do more ideals-based ones, ones that are more gray like Heavensward, and I think that's a good thing. Now, granted, that does come with a caveat. They actually do make it a gray situation. Like, Fire Emblem Fates advertised itself as a story with two sides and all gray, but in reality, that's not actually the case, unfortunately. Yeah, which is unfortunate, because the games actually did have a lot of potential to easily make it a gray situation. They just didn't, but I'd already digressed too much. Let's find a way to stop it. The Ishgard has only just emerged from a 1,000-year war, and we cannot suffer another great tragedy, much less so soon. In order to obtain a better understanding of the situation, we intend to speak with a member of the clergy, the sole individual who survived witnessing Blasphemy's birth without being turned. Clem is his name, and he is a deacon at the St. Rama Cathedral. Come, let us seek him out there at once. Sounds good to me. Alright, now where do I go for this? The pillars... Okay, the cathedral teleportation, alright. I know it probably seemed a bit silly to have to specify that I'm only supporting something as long as it actually works, but it's worth being clear, because something good can always make a misstep here and there. Just because you like something does not mean it's immune to criticism, after all. And it's not like there hasn't been mistakes. I mean, I do think Endwalker overall has been a good expansion, but there are some stuff I find kind of iffy. Actually, I can show you right now that we got a moment. For example, when Astro here, this is Gravity 2, as you can see. Now, during the preview, they revealed Gravity would be upgrading to Gravity 2, and I thought, oh, cool, how are they going to upgrade? What are they going to do to make Gravity 2 better than Gravity 1? What did they do? Well, they didn't, if we're blunt. Where is it here? Here we are. See, that's 130 potency? That's actually what Gravity 1 was before Endwalker. From Heavensward to Shadowbringers, that's how powerful it was. Literally all they did was reduce Gravity 1 to 120, and then Gravity 2 to 130. Yeah. Yeah, basically they just lowered Gravity 1's potency and made Gravity 2 the original potency, which is, kind of a disappointment, and this is far from the only job where they do that. So they definitely didn't do everything perfectly. Right, I have to do this as Red Mage. Plus I'm still leveling Astro. I think I'm going to be doing that as my main healer. You need not speak well in the chapel, for the Fury can hear the whispers of your soul. Here he is, Deacon Clem. Let us see what he can tell us. Not very long ago, few would have imagined Ishgardian knights marching beyond the bounds of their own dominion, who ventured into the heart of Garlemald and fought for no less the fate of the world itself. Our nation has changed and continues to do so. Lord Aymeric, Lord Artoriat, and the savior of Ishgard besides, you do me a great honor. I'm Clem, and I serve as the deacon here at St. Raymond's Cathedral. I'm not sure if that's actually how it's pronounced. Ishgard's names all largely have a lot of French to them, so there's a lot of words with letters that aren't pronounced but are important for the proper spelling. I understand you're among those the Hoplon when the incident occurred. We give thanks to the Fury for your merciful preservation. We now seek to prevent the blasphemy from wreaking further havoc. Could appreciate any details you can provide. Loath that we are to make you recall unpleasant memories, will you not recount to us what you witnessed that day? Very well. We are pleasantly relocating the vault's libraries to Cathedral, in case you were unaware. We finished delivering a batch of tomes, we are on our way to bring another. We approached the Hoplon, we noticed a young man walking unsteadily. No sooner had he come to an abrupt halt than he transformed into that seemingly draconic beast. The fiend fixed us with a menacing glare, and it was all we could do to find our wits and flee. It was all we could do to find our wits and flee. Yeah, an important thing about Ishgard is they spent a 1,000-year war with dragons, so as far as they're concerned, dragons were basically more demonic than actual demons. Like, they'd consider, like, you know how we'd think of demons and then dragons? Reverse that, and that's basically how the, Ishgardians saw them. Oh yeah, I already read that. But to my compounding horror, my brethren who were with me began turning into monstrosities as well, one after another. Praise the Fury that you, at least, were spared, Deacon Clem. I cannot imagine how frightening his experience it must have been. Who's that? You were in a very fancy outfit. Oh, Bishop Vartino! Forgive me if I interrupt. I was informed of that our stalwart protectors were present. I wish to express my gratitude. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you for my service. I pray that we shall soon be free of this scourge. Indeed, if there ought to be due to aid your efforts, you need but say it. You are most kind, your grace. That was Bishop Vartino, the head of St. Reynard's and a member of the Synod. With the seat of the Archbishop vacant, he is in effect the highest authority in the Orthodox Church. This is so, yet in spite of the elevated station, he remains as kind and humble a man as I've ever known. Like his grace, I will do all I can to help shepherd our people this uncertain time. To that end, there's a request I'd make of you if you could spare a moment to consider it. I guess I couldn't. We're already here, so of course, if it's within our power, we'd gladly offer you aid. Thank you. What manner of request? His tone bespeaks urgency. The deacon was no less terrified by the blasphemy than his peers, yet he alone did not turn. By what grace was he spared? In the wake of the transformations, a group of clergymen fled the city in fear, yet though they sought refuge in wilderness, they put themselves at the mercy of the elements and fell fiends both. Given the cause of the transformation is not clear, I think theirs was a decidedly unwise decision. I wish to set out and find them, but I have not trained in the ways of war, as such I require those who would accompany me in the search. Oh, so that's a way of it. So suffice to say we will help. Do you know whither your fellows may have headed? The Western Highlands, I believe. Between Gorgone Mills and Hemlock, there is no shortage of abandoned dwellings in the area. Very well, time being of the essence, I propose we split up and scour in separate areas. Cote, if you would escort the good deacon to the mills, Lord Artorial and I will attend to the Hemlock. The Scholasticate was part of a storyline in Heavensward. Actually, I should probably be, yeah, I figure the scenario I should be able to be teleporting. Western Highlands, oh my. Would it be faster to go to Alberta's Spine? No, it would not, actually. Not a problem. To the Falcon's Nest, then. Still, I kind of do like the overall changes to Red Mage. They didn't change things too much between Stormblood when it's introduced in Shadowbringers, which makes sense. You don't want to break a job that was already very popular too much, but at the same time, some found that a bit disappointing. So they redid it a decent bit now. Basically, you used to require 80 of both these meters to use your ultimate combo, now you only need 50. Magnification here gives you 50 of both, giving you an immediate combo, but before it just doubled whatever you currently had. So, with that in mind, you can tell them you get to use your ultimate combo a lot better, which basically makes the job a melee magic class, more or less. And weird as that sounds, I actually really do like it. Oh yeah, I guess since this sounds like the one song, not one event, yeah, it was from Heavensward. Heavensward has a lot of songs they've been continuing to use. Since this is an abandoned building, here we are. That you should choose to abide in such harsh conditions. Looks like we found him. You! Ah, I see you found them. Yes, and none worse for wear, thank the Fury. My friends, forgive us if we have given cause for alarm. We've come out of concern for your well-being. Though we understand why you quit the city, we fear you may have placed yourselves in a greater risk by coming here. His Grace, Bishop Vardano, too worries for your health and prays for your swift return, so please, will not allow us to escort you back to the Holy See. I assure you, it's much safer than this wretched place. Servants of the Fury will never be safe in the city, don't you see? And this is your fault, you and your accursed revolution. The people disdain us, mock us behind our back, and spit into our faces. Well, it makes sense not everyone would be too happy with a revolution. And now someone's conspiring to transform us into monstrosities. Enemies of the church all waver, emboldened by your deeds, so I'll not go back to Ishgard, soon freeze to death and suffer your pity. Given this is a setting where magic is real, I can't really chastise this guy for thinking that someone is behind the scenes in shape-shifting people. What? All I've ever done is service to her. I'm a good man. I do not. She cannot forsake me. He's given up his spell. Ah, Halone preserve. Coda, we cannot allow him to harm any others. Give chase and do what you must. We will remain here and keep the others calm. He's right. Yeah, he's right to do that. Obviously, my character can. A creature like that is nothing compared to the protagonist. So, all shall be well, my friends. Join me in prayer. Deacon Clem, please do what you can to assure them. Yes, of course. Don't worry about us. See the beast. It can't have gotten far. This was lightly touched upon on during the patch storyline after the end of Heavensward, but yeah, because the clergy and stuff are no longer the height of power in Ishgard, thanks to their religion getting a complete overhaul after learning the truth behind everything. Not everyone was very happy about that, especially since those in power have now lost so much power, so they're not happy. Ooh, I forgot I have a finisher now. Laser beam. A third finisher now, because the first finisher is either Ver Holy or Ver Flare, then Scorch, and then, what is it again? Resolution. Yeah, Resolution's the long beam. But yeah, Red Mage is basically a melee mage job now, and I quite like it. It's definitely my favorite caster so far. Although I actually haven't done much with Summoner so far, and that's really popular among the people who play it. What of the beast? All shall be well. Is it done, Kota? Don't worry, I scorched and resoluted it. My thanks. What happens most regrettable, must be grateful that no one else came to harm. While you were gone, the deacon was able to convince the others to return to the city. Let's escort them back and then reconvene the congregation to consider our next course of action. For our purposes, we now have use of the strategy room. Announce yourself to the guard and he'll show you in. Knights most heavenly. Congregation of our knights most heavenly. Not knight is the easiest way there. Yeah, Ishgard's entire culture was based around their religion and the church telling them that the dragons were the source of all evil in the world. So, yeah, learning that their faith was being abused for the sake of furthering a war for various reasons was certainly not very pleasant for them. Bordermick and Artorial wait you in the strategy room. Will you be joining them? Lest you wonder, we have taken the clergymen to the St. Reynolds to rest and recover. If truth be told, the thought they may still succumb to despair and return remains the forefront of my mind, yet the risk would be greater were we to keep them at arm's length and deny them the comfort of the church. Indeed, from the words he spoke, that Inquisitor yearned for the days of old. He and others like him can scarcely be blamed. Since the truth of the nation's founding and the Archbishop's machinations were made public knowledge, the church has been in turmoil. Yeah, it's worth noting that it's not strictly speaking the religion that was the issue. It was the people in charge of it running things who basically fabricated stories to make the people put them into power like that. Some might argue that's an arbitrary difference, but nonetheless it's an important distinction that the game does acknowledge. Though we've made great strides in separating the religion and the state, there's been far less progress in the reformation of the church. Our faith has been everything to us, our purpose and our comfort. It is not an easy thing to reconcile one's belief with our betrayal of our spiritual leaders. Yeah, if the Pope turns out that he wished to raise an army of godlike beings to take over the world, that's a bit different from, things. Thus torn between their hearts and minds, many Ishgardians feel lost, and none more so than members of the clergy whose faith was once unshakable. Little wonder, then, the most dedicated and devout are like to turn. So it seemed, but further investigation is needed ere we draw a definite conclusion. With war's end, Ishgard set on a new path. The choices we make now shall determine our course for the future, and come what may, under the chance we have fought so hard to obtain. I agree. Once the returned clergymen have sufficiently calmed down, I shall have the deacon speak with them, that we might gain insight to their individual plights. Good. Meanwhile, I shall take the opportunity to brief my men on recent developments. Pray take a moment's rest, my friend. You've earned it. If you're ready to continue our work, you may seek us out there. Yeah, the archbishops. Yeah, I'm gonna have to spoil the final boss of Heavensward, but basically Archbishop stole the power of the Ascians in order to become the Knights of the Round. So yeah, it's basically if the Pope betrayed everyone to become a god himself, and created an army of godlike beings, which, actually, considering he stole La Habrea's power, that actually makes sense. I mean, La Habrea is one of the few unsundered, which means his ether is a lot more powerful than all the others, and that explains how the Archbishop was able to not only make himself a godlike entity, but also empower others, because the game made it explicitly clear that it was the Archbishop and the Archbishop alone who had transformed himself into a primal of sorts. but the others were not. They were just quote-unquote blessed by him and granted powers, which seemed a bit weird, but I guess that does explain it. On that note, I think I mentioned it during the Pandemonium raid, but I was wondering what I'm thinking La Brea is probably going to be behind that. And since La Brea is a title, it could be that the true La Brea of that timeline is going to be the one we fight, and the one we help in Pandemonium, the Aetherios, whatever his name was, is going to be the true, is going to replace him as the new La Brea. That would certainly, yeah, I think I mentioned before, but that would very much make for a tragic turn of events. Since that would mean the La Brea we fought and eventually saw the demise of was once our good friend. Although that does raise the question of why he, was acting that way. Yeah. No forgiveness, no deliverance. Coda, your timing could not be better. Deacon Clem has finished speaking with rescued clergyman and will be here shortly to share his findings. Lord Amric is on his way as well. Let us wait. Deacon Clem, we thank you for making inquiries on our behalf. I was in no position at last, and as I said, I'm glad I can do all I can. So it is our understanding that those we escorted back were all close acquaintances with the Inquisitor who returned. Like him, they too have been the subject of harassment by certain quarters of the populace. Is that correct? It is, I am afraid. They are far from alone. Men of the cloth were once afforded respect and deference as servants alone, but now they openly reviled by many. Yeah, I mean, knocking the ones who are abusing their power from the top is certainly worthwhile, but the ones who are just being faithful and all that, they were betrayed just as much as everyone else, betrayed by the Archbishop as much as everyone else. We are complicit in perpetuating terrible lies, this is true, but we are misled. The victims, we are being regarded by some as criminals. Well, unfortunately, a leader does reflect on the people below them, so when the Archbishop betrayed everyone, and to gain God's power, it only makes sense that it would reflect very badly on everyone else. Well, do I understand the people's anger, but it saddens me to think they'd lash out at their fellow man, especially when we need solidarity most of all. Though I can imagine your plight, I would not presume to fully grasp your pain. Will you tell us the challenges you and yours have faced since the war's end? Like all sons and daughters of Ishgard, we dreamed of peace in our lifetime, but now that it's come, we have little cause to rejoice. Our faith has long since been the foundation of our lives, and overnight that foundation has come crippled by fractures beyond repair for some. To learn that we have been deceived, and that we have unwittingly deceived others in return was devastating. We who had once been shepherds to men found ourselves lost lambs, bereft of surety and wanting for guidance. We have languished in darkness, all of us. Yet I have faith the Church will redeem itself, and it will find a new path, and once again become a beacon of hope for the people. I see, thank you for sharing that with us. Your testimony has confirmed our suspicions. According to our allies, that which causes people to turn is none other than despair and anguish. If it wasn't before, 'tis now abundantly clear why members of the clergy are among the transformed. That you did not, I believe, is due to your unwavering faith in the Church. In light of this, we'd ask for your continued cooperation. Of course, anything to help my brethren. Now that we've established the cause, that leaves us with the mystery of the... Did my character just flicker a moment there? With the mystery of the profane Fafnir's identity. The progenitor of these troubles. Could he too have been a man of the cloth? What I call of his garb, I doubt it. He was dressed in common fashion, and inadequately against the cold besides. It is said that something individual may remain in the blasphemy, influencing its behavior. That does seem to follow, going by what we saw from the Indigo Beast. If we can determine what instincts drove the profane Fafnir, we may learn who it once was. And this knowledge, I believe, will prove vital in our efforts to stop it. Deacon Clem, we ask that you reach out to your fellow clergymen. Please do so. Do what you can to ease their anxieties. Understood. As I've ever done, I shall provide what comfort I can to those in need. Sometimes those in need are your own. Those most in need are those of your own. Meanwhile, I must seek to make priority to identify the blasphemy. To that end, I would seek out more eyewitnesses. The Hoplon's a busy place at any given time. Some ordinary citizens are bound to have been present at the tragic event unfolded. I propose to make inquiries of the pillars. If you could attend the Hoplon, Lord Artorial and I will attend the surrounding areas. Do-do-do-do. I will admit I am curious what the relics for the Endwalker relics are going to be like. They will probably do another thing like Eureka and Boz Jan. But it's hard to say. Even with the Shadowbringer's weapons, you technically didn't have to do Boz Jan for most of them. You could just do regular roulettes and stuff. Oh right, I need to Last Vigil. No, I didn't see that dragon, nor would I wish to. Frightful as it sounds. They say it was a divine attack. And if that's not true, what was it? The dragon that appeared in the Hoplon? Ah, I saw with my own eyes. One moment to Elza, next terrible beast. He was a heretic, I say? Oh yeah, Ishgard was really big on urging heresy. Up. Ah, that's where. I was thinking up. But there's nothing above this area. Oh. I wasn't present for the incidents at Hoplon, but a young man poorly dressed for the cold, that I did see. I recall him being that way because an aide at St. Vendrew was searching for him. He was a patient in the infirmary and by coincidence had the same name. Looks like we've got a couple leads at the very least. Were you able to learn anything? Therakota, did your search yield any fruit? Patient of the Firmaments Infirmary, you say? Among those whom I spoke, one claims to have witnessed an individual fitting that description, a man walking in a stupor who did not seem to feel the cold. If he had wandered straight out of the infirmary, that would explain his state of attire. Yes, I do say we found him, but I think his name should be Vandrew. Does that name hold significance? 'Tis the same as the former Heavensward member, Sir Vernu de Romont, for whom the infirmary is named. Sir Vernu, however, retired from his station at the ripe old age some years ago. 'Tis not so likely to have been him. And in case we have a lead, I shall head to the infirmary at once. Please wait for me in the broom. Oops, I probably shouldn't walk into the fountain while it's, you know, snowing out. The broom. Should be interesting to see what's going on here. The broom still is one of the few times that they had a generic quest that I actually really remember. Right? It's a quest where your character is meant to deliver supplies, but by the time you reach the child that was in need of them, they've already passed. It made me have to stop for a moment. Lord tutorial should not be long. Let us wait here. Basically, this is the slums where the poor Vishgarders are forced to live. So, suffice to say, most here have some less than ideal means. This is Lorik, an aide who is in charge of Andrew. Haven't found him? Oh, please say you have. We have not, I'm afraid, but we seek to, and hope they could tell us more about him. Might we ask how he came to be at the infirmary? He was found by a patrol in the Central Highlands after being treated for his hurts. He was brought to us for convalescence. Being in the prime of his years, he had been doing well, but then... Prime of his years. By all account, he is no old man, so it's safe to say he isn't Sir Andrew. Oh no, he's definitely a different person, as I told Lord Artorial. Though he gave his name as Vandrew, he seemed rather confused, and we have no means in which to confirm his identity. In his state, he couldn't be wandering about on his own, so please must do what you can to find him. So he gave what is likely to be a pseudonym. The man who recently turned the beast to Hopalon, we regret to say it may very well have been Vandrew. No, how can this be? Is there aught you can tell us? Some things he may have said or done while in your care? While he was still unconscious, he would often ramble. Though most of it was incoherent, he did mention the Archbishop in several ways. Oh, when he spoke of the Bishop too, Bishop Vartano, I assumed he was a pious man given this. I see, we thank you for your cooperation. We will continue our investigation, and should we confirm what became, inform you forthwith. Yeah. I guess even those early quests, it's pretty clear that Heavensward was going to be a big step up from Realm Reborn. Alright, let's return to the congregation for now. Still, as much as a slog as Realm Reborn is, part of me still feels like it was necessary to properly follow everything going on in Heavensward onward. Zoom. Heading to the strategy room, we shall let you in. The mystery remains, we were one step closer to identifying the man who became Profane Fafnir. Indeed. Though he did not first appear to be a member of the clergy, his words betray a fervent faith. How curious he would speak not only the Archbishop, but Bishop Vartano specifically. We're gonna have to speak with Vartano specifically, it seems. Perhaps he was personally acquainted with his grace. In light of that possibility, we should speak with him directly, I say. Agreed, I'll request an audience, but his grace has many demands. It may be a while before we're seen. This will be a perfect opportunity to separate this if you were leveling. Should you have other business, pray you feel free to attend them in the meantime. Oh man, another church leader being corrupt would certainly cause a PR nightmare for the church. I mean, a bigger one than they already have. Might also be a bit, no. I hope it doesn't repeat too many set pieces from Heavensward is basically my hope. Only justice, only vengeance. Ah, Kota, excellent timing as ever. Deacon Clem just sent word the bishop will see us now, by which I mean right this instant. This is extremely short notice, I know, but it would not do to miss the opportunity to learn how he and Vandro may be connected. Not wishing to keep his grace waiting, Lord Aymeric is already on his way. Come, let us hurry ourselves. Then again, I was worried they might repeat storylines during Endwalker and they haven't so far. The main Endwalker's main story and they ended up not doing so, guess we'll find out. And I really need a drink. One moment, please. Ah, that feels a lot better. Hopefully I remembered to actually mute the mic that time, because I don't want it to end up like the Hollow Knight playthrough where I ended up completely slurping on stream. Now that was embarrassing. Ah, Coda, full glad that you could join us. Seems his grace has yet to arrive. Oh Lord, I'm so sorry I'm informed his grace that you were making your way hither, but shortly before he arrived, he recalled he had just business and to leave at once. He cannot have gone far, though, so if you search for him, you might be able to steal a moment's time. Granted, it's an audience, why depart with such haste? What business could be so pressuring? Are all these role quests gonna have one person that's protecting the... Yeah, blasphemy, the witch? I keep calling them witches because they're basically the witches as from that one series. Well, I already spoiled it in previous episodes, so it probably doesn't matter if I'm trying to avoid naming it. I found his grace, Coda. Oh, well now, even the savior of Ishgard should be here. Your grace, perhaps to simpler misunderstanding, but we were under the impression that you granted us an audience. Well, speak, rest assured I was just about to return to the cathedral. There's no need, your grace, this will not take long. As you may have heard, we're investigating a young man named Vandrew. Is he known to you? No, I cannot say he is, with the exception of a former archdiocese. I'm sure I know no one of that name. But thine and the archbishops are known to many, yes? Perhaps this youth took inspiration from public services, or which he provided. A goodly soul that he is, full glad I am his faith was of comfort to him in sickness. I pray to Halona he'll soon be found in good health. Now then, if there's nothing else, I shall return to my duties. You know something, and I don't even need the Echo to know that. But the Echo will confirm it, that's good. Wait, that's in the Ethereal Research Facility. Fear not, your eminence, I shall carry on your legacy. We completed the preparations as per your instructions, but are you certain this will work? It will, it must. Lord Amarek spoke the truth when he revealed the Archbishop sought primal powers to strengthen the people's faith. I could not bring myself to believe it, not at first, but in the course of cataloging his eminence's personal articles, I came across his journal. Therein he'd written that through abundant ether and fervent prayer, it's possible to make gods of men. All the power we require lies in this place, as is law. By channeling the essential elements of the soulless flesh and sword, we found... We shall summon forth King Thord and his knights 12, and by his blessing Ishgard shall be restored to its former glory. But the thousands of years of prayer had already been used up, along with Lahabrea's power, in order to create the Knights of the Round. I guess there was a bit left. Well, like I said, Lahabrea had quite a bit of ether, given he was one of the few unsundered Ascians left. What is this? It's just an ordinary man, scarcely changed from before. His Eminence, I must protect clone Delazin. They cloned one of the knights of the Heavensward. No, no, this isn't right. Confound it. Perhaps I overlooked something. I must return the Holy See and reread the journal. Your Grace, what shall we do with this thing? Leave it. It is a failure without use or value. The denizens of this place will deal with it soon enough. So he followed them back to Ishgard. Coda, are you well? Were you chance granted a vision of the past? An attempted summoning of King Thordan and his Knights 12. So they are repeating the story. Your Grace, you should know full well the summoning is strictly forbidden. You'll accompany us to the congregation and explain yourself. I've dedicated my life to the church, conducted my affairs in accordance with the scriptures, taught others to do likewise. Yes, he figures there's nothing left to lose. We took it all from us, tore down everything that defined us. You cannot know how it feels to have your very existence rejected, to be forsaken by your community and denied by your society. Well, I deny you in this justice. I deny Ishgard where the church has no place. I refuse to accept it. Do you hear me? I refuse. Don't worry, I can handle this. Okay, never mind. He handled it. Your Grace, no. He willingly gave. That wasn't normal. He willingly gave in despair, knowing fully well what would happen, just because he was that. That it should come to violence yet again. Would that your hand had not been forced, my lord. Deacon Clem should not be alone at this time. I shall remain with him while tending to the aftermath. When things have settled, I will return to the congregation. Pray go ahead and get some rest. Clem's probably the only one left there that has a good head on his shoulders. I mean, we should just have him run the church. Actually, it might be faster to go this way. Oh, yeah, it's faster this way because I can just jump down here. All this time, honestly, it's pretty easy to believe that even after all this time, Ishgard still has a lot of rebuilding to do. Not just for the church and all this, mind you, for the general restructuring of its government and all that. Especially since they had to rush to try and join the Eorzean Alliance to fight Garlemald. On top of all the internal struggles and problems they had. How fares the deacon? Well enough, given the circumstances. Though understandably shaken, he's more determined than ever to help his fellows. Truly, he is possessed of a stout heart, but to think even a member of the Synod can succumb to despair in turn. The crisis gripping the church is far graver than I ever imagined. In pushing for such an abrupt separation of religion and state, we may have exasperated the growing divide between the clergy and general populace. Hota, will you recount in full what you witnessed with your vision? You should seek out one's use of the Allagan's unholy abominations to create a primal. Yet that which manifested was not like the being you fought, but rather retained the form of a man, one driven only by the desire to protect the Archbishop. We may safely assume the bishop did not have sufficient ether. Bereft of Nidog's eye, the sword of Asalkalon no longer has such power, nor does that of the Warring Triad remain nor does any of the Warring Triad remain to be harnessed, thanks to your valorous intervention. Yeah, the Warring Triad were the main primal battles during Heavensward. But if the summoning failed, how did the clone come to possess life? And what purpose drives it? Lack of ether notwithstanding, the necessary components were present for a lack of summoning. Perhaps the ritual itself was a success, and the vessel, though imperfect, arose a champion of the Archbishop. How did he come to be in the Central Highlands? Do you believe this clone and man who became the blasphemer are one and the same? Nay, I merely speculate. Yet considering what we know of the clone and Vandrew, it seems a likely possibility. Whatever the truth may be, it will not elude us forever, but first I must lay some groundwork for the next phase of our investigation. God's permitting, I will have news to share ere long, so pray look in on us when you can. Yeah, the storyline very much feels like a direct sequel to everything that happened in Heavensward. I guess it makes sense. They can't really... Well, they have had some storylines since that dwell on the need to rebuild Ishgard in the patch, especially in the patches of for Heavensward. A lot of them were spent on the fact Nidhogg was gathering his power to return to and try and lay waste the city for good. And after that, they immediately start working towards the Stormblood storyline, so I guess they figured the role quest here would be a perfectly good opportunity to make a sort of sequel to that, going further into the fallout after the events of Heavensward. Will's unending, faith unbending. Coda, you are ever a sight for sore eyes. Ill tidings, my friends. I dispatched the Temple Knights to find the clergyman who aided the bishop in Vartanav's summoning attempt. Regrettably, when confronted, all of them turned and had to be put down. Oh dear. Without their accounts, then how to ascertain that clone and How then to ascertain whether the clone and the Vandrew are the same individual? Maintaining the assumption that they are, perhaps we should instead consider how Vandrew may have found his way to Korthus. According to Coda's vision, he was abandoned as his law, but what did he do afterwards? Then there was but one way to ascertain the truth. We follow his trail. I shall go in search of the clone as his law. If he is still there, we're dealing with a different individual. A splendid idea. We'll leave the floating continents in your capable hands. Meanwhile, Kota and I shall retrace Vandrew's steps from whence he appeared. Upon being found in the Central Highlands, he was taken to Camp Dragonhead. Let us begin by making inquiries there. Do 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 do. Player names are amusing. Oh right, it's at Camp Dragonhead, which is in the Central Highlands, which is actually a Realm Reborn area. The Obalon. Oh, that's a Dark Knight Greatsword. Yeah, that's the Hive Greatsword, Ravana's Greatsword. Investigating the stranger we found, have you? I was involved myself, so I can't tell you much about the fellow. But in cases of interest, earlier the same day I caught sight of an airship flying dangerously low. It soon disappeared in the brewing snowstorm, looking none too steady. Alright, we'll have to mark that down. Well now, if it isn't the late Lord Harshafon's dear friend, is there something we require? Ah, yes, the mystery man. I was among those who tended him. He was not attired for the snow, much less a snowstorm in which he'd been caught, and was suffering from frostbite. When people are extremely cold, they may mistakenly feel they are warm and disrobe. That might explain his state of undress. It can also happen if they're under the influence of something, but I highly doubt he was drunk. His state when he was found. There we are. Settlement. I've read in the 1.0 settlements were a much bigger deal because since that each one had various things going on, but I unfortunately am not too familiar with them. As of now, settlements are all just markers for major major story events for the area will usually be in. Oh, it's Emmeline. Good old boy, when I saw you off of the Ragnarok, I had every faith you would return, and here you are. More dependable comrade a man could not hope for. Ah, 'tis an honor to receive you. What brings you to our humble camp today? An injured man found in the wild? Yeah, there was one. I was on patrol that chanced into him north of here at Providence Point. He was unconscious in a bad way. We hurried board him back to camp. Doing what we could, we sent him to the city. Let's go. Amherst. There you are. Were you able to learn aught of interest? I scribbled a few notes specifically to hand over. Mysterious man found collapsed after an airship was seen flying low. Yes, the accounts I heard are consistent with yours. I for one am curious about the fate of this unknown airship. To that end, I've arranged a pair of black chocobos to more efficiently scour the area. We shall continue our search to Providence Point, where Vandrew is said to have been found. If you're ready, let us be off. Alright, I believe this is going to be pure cutscene. Black chocobos are the chocobos that fly by default. Your starting chocobo requires a quest line before it learns how to fly. But after that, you can use it freely. There was actually a time when mounts that could fly and mounts that couldn't were separated, but nothing so far. Let's continue northeast. But yeah, eventually the devs said, it's just a lot, we're just going to make it so all mounts can fly no matter what. It's just a lot easier than having to try and maintain two different types. And I get that. Did the airship crash, perhaps? Yes, it did, and there's our enemy there. By the Fury, it's a blasphemy! Quick, let's, what's something in Monster Hunter you can do to get some early damage on something? I should probably play Monster Hunter one of these days, but I'm sure there's something you could do to get an early advantage. Yeah, the Echo, there's no doubt. This explains why this blasphemy is very strange. This clone is basically a reborn homunculus. His Eminence must protect His Eminence. Interesting. That means this particular Burrow Witch is a lot different from the others. You're finally awake. Take him. Oh crap, I forgot how to do the Skyrim opening meme. Alone and be praised. How are you feeling? Strong enough to speak? Can you tell me your name? My name is... Different. No, Bear. No, was a villain? Oh, is mine. So many names swirling in my mind, voices that reject them. Is there none they will accept? Are you alright? Vandrew. My name is Vandrew. Well now, it's same as an infirmary. Dare say fate has guided you to us. So Vandrew, if you're feeling a bit of conversation, come out about yourself or anything you remember. I don't think proud son of House Dismail? No, a devout servant of Helone, lives for the rush of battle, pleasure, and the attentions of maidens, to fight beside my brothers in arms? Oh, because of all noble, those whose every effort was unrewarded, whose very name would disqualify him from ever leading the Temple Knights, but his eminence raised me up, granted me a place at his side. Day forth, I pledge my sword to his service, pledge my life be offered into his. Okay, so while the summoning wasn't proper, it put all their memories into his. I am a knight of the Heavensward, sworn to protect and serve the Archbishop. Your knight, forgive me if this sounded rude, I had no idea. While realizing memories may be muddled, I'm afraid I must inform you the Heavensward have not been seen in quite some time and presumed dead. The Archbishop, well, he's certainly no longer of this world. Oh, so that's what happened. But the important things are safe now. We can get you back on your feet. Speaking of something, bring food and water. You must be absolutely famished. So when they attempted to summon the Knights of the Round, they were all placed within his head. The Archbishop dead? This cannot be. How can I still be alive when he is not? I must find him. Yeah, they basically created a homunculus, and the memories of the 12 Heavensward members were all put in there. Or was it 10? Something like that. Coda. Oh, this might be a bad time. For the glory of King Thordan. Well, if there's any question as to who he was, I think that fixes the problem now, doesn't it? Another vision, I take it. Yeah, and we have our proof now. For now, let us make to Ishgard. I expect Lord Artorial will return soon, if he is not already, and we should both be glad to hear your tale. Might as well just walk back. That's definitely a lot to take in. I knew the blasphemies to be something notable, like during the Reaper one, it was obviously someone very important who had become the Indigo Beast, but Fafnir here is basically the remnants of a homunculus summoned with the memories of the Heavensward members. Heading to the strategy room, I shall be glad to show you in. Ah, Koda, I pray your search was more productive than my own. Everyone's here, excellent. Were you able to find our clone, as is law? Naught but the discarded Ascalon remained. How fared you in your own efforts in Central Highlands? In the course of retracing his steps, we camped on the wreck of the Soleil. I suspect he found the vessel abandoned as is law and tried to use it to return to Ishgard. But he crashed en route, was subsequently rescued by the patrol from Camp Dragonhead. So it would seem, and the Archbishop's airship was not the only thing we found. Profane Fafnir was there as well. The creature chose to flee, but not before Koda had a vision of Vandreo's past. Go, my friend, share with us what you witnessed. All the pieces fit, is as you surmised, my lord. Vandreo and the clone are one and the same, and in his despair turned to that blasphemy. Yet the confusion he exhibited when asked his name, it's as if he wasn't sure his own identity. According to the Scions, the Primal retained memories of their previous incarnations. From this, it may be assumed the clone harbors memories of all those who became King Thord and his Knights 12. Okay, yeah, it was 12. Though he struggled to reconcile those conflicting memories, he managed to settle on the name Vandrew. Voices were clearly in agreement when facing Koda, mere sight of whom drove the blasphemy to flee. Above all, however, they share in the desire to protect the Archbishop. This desire was seared into his very being, and when he learned he no longer had a purpose... The Heavensward took up arms against us and Ishgard. By their hands were we robbed of one of our finest knights and a dear friend. Even so, I would not wish such a terrible fate upon them. The selfsame fate inflicted upon many clergymen, a fate I fear the ordinary citizens will succumb to as well if we fail to act. People will not soon forget the betrayal of our church's leadership, nor should they, but absent the comfort and stability once afforded to them by the institution, many have become lost and are all too vulnerable to despair. Yeah, that's the key that matters more than anything else. Well, I imagine the church could eventually become a source of comfort eventually, and possibly to save future player characters' games. I think this is a bit more fitting to the character. They don't have to forget, but they need to move forward no matter what. My character is very much a whatever will be kind of person. So worrying about the past is not something he'd be too concerned about. Or at least that's how I like to think of it. I thought as much myself, my friend, but to hear you say it, well, indeed. When the groundwork which we stand crumbles, we must find the strength to move forward, even should it cause us pain to do so. Lord Artorial, at the next house session, I shall call for an ecumenical council to be held. Lord, such a gathering is reserved for you intend for the church to codify a new doctrine. Since the separation of religion and state, we refrained from interfering with church affairs. But the church remained part of Ishgard society and continue serving people. It must reconsider its role and formally address recent revelations. I would call for this council not as the Lord Speaker, but as a humble adherent to the faith. That sounds perfectly reasonable. As long as I considered whether such measures were necessary, but lacked the courage to set them in motion, I now have thanks to you. I shall tend to the necessary preparations at once. Among other things, we must reach out to those of the clergy who are amenable to reform. I ask for your patience in the meantime. Yeah, I have thought a lot about my character's story as the game went about. He started as an archer, went as a bard, so I figure a kind of hippie-like personality would fit. So whatever will be, will be. Yeah, but of course that doesn't mean you just sit by and let life pass you by. It just means not worrying over what happens in the past or future. Bruh, just need... He says don't worry about it, not that you don't take action about it, is what I'm getting at. But of course, I eventually learned ninja techniques. Like many hippies, he eventually went to college, learned to deal with magic, red magic being a good mix of all the techniques learned. I'm not sure how Reaper fits in there so far. I mean, I memed about to giving others rest, but it kind of was a spiritfarer sort of thing, but I don't know. By the end, it felt more like I was slicing through despair and hopelessness. Guide us to victory. The set of a tutorial's job betrays a hint of anxiety. Ah, Coda, owing to Lord Amrick's swift action, I'm pleased to say the economic council will be held. In case you're aware, the council is the highest assembly of the Ishgardian Orthodox Church. Its purpose is deliberate and decide upon doctrine. The previous one was held no less than 80 years ago, and 4 archbishops have since come and gone. As such, most Ishgardians know very little about it, save what they've read in historical records. Traditionally, the archbishop and members of the synod would meet behind closed doors. In light of Bishop Varnox's fate, however, this time the doors will be thrown open to the public. Indeed, for the first time in history, all men and women of the faith may have a hand in shaping the mission and teachings of the Church. It is my hope that you will also soon join us in endeavor. Deacon Clem, allow me to express our gratitude for push your efforts in facilitating the council. We appreciate the difficulty of your position. I merely heed my conscience and faith, my lord. Acting in Bishop Voltno's said, I shall do all my power to see the Church may serve the people once more. As it should be. Where's the Lord Speaker, if I may ask? He stepped outside for a moment, saying that he wished to gather his thoughts out of the council. The hour draws nigh, however. Coda, I shall proceed to the vault with good Deacon. In the meantime, may I ask you find Lord Amrick? He should be at the Last Vigil, I believe. Oops. Accident clicked outside the window there. Should be able to just use this Aetherite shard here to teleport right away. Here we are, the Last Vigil. I just have to go south from here to find him. Oh, perfect. I'm already facing the right way. Judging from that person's position, they are most likely in the middle of the Heavensward storyline. Hope they enjoy it. Hey, Amrick, need a shoulder to rest on? Oh, 'tis you, my friend. Is it that time already? I'm afraid so. See, my apologies for making you come and fetch me. I've been thinking, Coda, on the path I've chosen to walk, and on those who've been left behind as a consequence of my actions. Those who died fighting, those burdened with boundless grief, those deprived of position and purpose. Like any nation, Ishgard is made out of disparate souls with disparate beliefs. Without an enemy to unite us, we recall the differences we once set out of necessity and find amongst us our old friends new ideological foes. Yeah, I think that's the big thing about Heavensward. A big reason that the Archbishop and the others kept the war going was because it kept everyone united and with a little, and it kept the internal stuff a lot more straightforward. And that's probably why the Bishop and the others were still nostalgic for that time, because while there was indeed war and there was a lot of death and that destruction, there was a lot less comparatively less internal issues due to people putting them aside more easily for the sake of a common foe. Once that's gone, well, put any group of people who agree with something together and they'll start dividing themselves rather surely. I mean, look at any fandom. Even this very game's fandom. Future I'd envisioned, 'tis far more difficult to secure than I'd ever imagined. What must I do for the people to live in harmony, for our nation to move forward as one? Such questions I have been pondering. Yeah, Amaric has one of the bigger issues to have to deal with of all the Eorzean leaders, because he basically came into power because the old theocracy was completely dismantled as the result of the events of Heavensward, and as a result, a new monarch, functionally new monarchy, was put in place with him as the king of. But I don't think his official title is king, but it's the same purpose basically. And as such, he's not only in charge of rebuilding after the old one's broken down, but also securing the new future, because, you know, it's generally not good when a nation falls after the death of its king. I mean, I think I mentioned during one of the previous streams that Garlemald was the most likely on its way out. Yeah, the current leader was, before being turned to a primal, he was strong and charismatic to keep everyone together, but the moment he left, even he knew his own son wasn't fit to rule, and since they'd already had a war of succession to get him in power in the first place, there's no way they could have survived a second. So Amaric absolutely doesn't want that to happen either. He doesn't want to Ishgard to fall apart as soon as he dies or retires or whatever. So he's got a much rough time. The only one who even comes close is Milub. But because Limsalomins is largely a bunch of bunch of pirates who decided to put aside their differences to make a trading hub and city, and it eventually grew into a proper nation proper. That's why she's trying to move everyone past their and she herself has gone through quite a bit of development since Roma Born as well. So she's basically making a new nation from scratch. Period. While Imeric is completely restructuring a nation from the ground up, which is, I guess, in a way, is kind of like making an entirely new nation. And it's going to be hard to say whether or not he can succeed, because in my opinion, that's not really something you can judge even within the first generation after, or it's something that can only be done after a long history. Should we begin making our way to the council? Should we continue our conversation while we walk back? Brilliant, that just be off. If it is agreeable, I'd like to look on to Forto Manor. Okay, so yeah, another escort mission. Although this one isn't too bad, at least. Yeah, for any Fate fans who watch Base Zero, I kind of disagree with Iskandar's theory that how well a king does in life is all that matters, and whether or not the nation continues after is irrelevant. I strongly disagree. I think how well they last after the person leaves is also important. Or at least that's my opinion. Feels like another age that you and yours were no more than foreign wards to House Forteau. In actual fact, it may be considered so, for your coming setting forth a motion of chain of events that brought an end to the Dragon Song War, ushering a new age of harmony. You paved the way for meaningful change to our nation. For that you shall ever have my gratitude. Now then, shall we continue on to the architects? Judging by what happened with Mirluweb and Amaric here, I'm going to guess that all of the role quests involve you getting buddy-buddy with the leader of each respective nation-state. I actually think that's a really good idea, since the next expansions are supposedly going to be a self-contained story, unrelated to the previous ones. So instead, going back and reflecting on the friends we've made and how they've been going so far is a nice way to reflect after such a long storyline. King Thorn and his Knights 12, the murderers of Ratatosk. Since the truth of their ancient crime came to life, many have demanded these images be torn down. Yet what our founding fathers did was wrong. Neither is it right to simply expunge them and their deeds from history. To do so would deny our people's part in what followed for 1,000 years. We have a chance to forge a new future, but we as a nation must decide how we will confront our past. Forgive me, I lost in thought. Let us join them at the vault. Yeah, I get where they're coming from. To learn that the ones responsible for everything were actually awful, you think it makes our founders' statues in a city hit a lot different. I can see some reason for removing it in the general sense. But yeah, like with Amaric, I do agree. Simply forgetting them won't work. Like they say, those who forget the past are doomed to repeat it. He gave a bit of a different reason, but I think that's an important thing to remember as well. It's important to remember the good and the bad. Now, whether or not the statue should remain, I'm not sure, but at the very least, as long as the context remains, it doesn't. As long as the context and knowledge remains, it doesn't matter about the statues, or at least that's my opinion. Largely, I think at this point it would matter more of, do they really need the stone? Because if not, and my understanding is they kind of don't, it's not really I don't think it's an issue. They can worry about it later, is what I'm getting at. I mean, one thing crafters can do right now, I don't know if it ended actually, but a while ago, crafters had an event where they contributed to helping rebuild Ishgard after the Dragonsong War, and there was a short little story tied to that. I don't know if it's still ongoing, though. I know it went in phases. It's probably over by now, given the expansion and all that, but they did update it for a bit. But yeah, since it's the restoration Ishgard is coming along, I'm not sure I don't think they're hurting for stones so much they need to break those down just to make a point. Maybe they should eventually, but I think they can hold off for now, or at least that's my opinion. There you are, my friends. The council's about to... Fine, let's take her. And of course, Aimeric is the one in leader, so if he says they should stay, I think there's no reason to question. There's no reason to turn against that. Now, there's no reason to question it. Obviously, that's perfectly fine. There's no reason to go against it. After all, it's not like the statues themselves are continuing to do something. They're just statues. Pieces of stone. I'm thinking this too much. Welcome to me and my streams. Esteemed members of the clergy and honored adherents of the faith, I thank you all for your attendance. In recent days, our nation has been racked by a series of tragedies. Those among us who do Holone's work have been transformed into abominations. This dreadful phenomenon has been brought about by the final days, and it is upon our despair and anguish that it feeds. Thus, if we are to prevent further tragedy, we must try to ensure that all Ishgardans, clergymen and citizens alike, abide with peace and love for one another in their hearts. To that end, I call this Ecumenical Council, the first in generations, that we might together determine a path forward for the Church and our society as a whole. Since antiquity, the Ishgardian Orthodox Church served people in two respects, as the Fury's spear to strike the heart of dragonkind, as the Fury's shield to safeguard the souls of men. But now that we are at peace with the Dravanians, the Church no longer needs serve as a spear. So much now, we must consider how we might better serve as a shield for our brethren. The hierarchy must be reformed, and for that we need accountability. The upper echelon must be stripped of rank at minimum, investigations conducted, trials held if the evidence is sufficiently damning, and then we may turn to our attention to their doctrine of lies. As our predecessors did before us, we of the Synod have ever sought to interpret the scriptures to the best of our ability, and thence convey Helone's will to the people. As such, fervent pursuit of retribution at the expense of doctrine will also come at the expense of our faith. Uh, have we won the war to lose our souls? Helone, are we outside your grace? This is not going to be easy for anyone on any side, I can tell you that much for sure. On one hand, I agree with that guy's is a frustration, especially since, as we've seen, pretty much all the higher-ups had something going on. This Bodil, at this rate, someone might turn. At the same time, she does make an interesting point that, if you're, more specific, I need to be more specific here. What I mean there is, if you focus on retribution and revenge over actual... Because remember, revenge, vengeance, retribution, those are not justice. They are simply... Yeah, they're something else entirely. And if you only focus on that, then it doesn't matter if you're in the right or in the wrong. It just means things aren't... It just means things are going to get worse. Like I said, we're not here to forget and forget here, or that is obviously not going to happen, but simply pursuing with Talon's Blade isn't going to solve the problem either. Since the war's end, the Church and the faithful have stood crossroads, unable to take the next step forward. By his grace, Bishop Vertina, may he walk in Helone's halls, was one such soul, and his longing for simpler times, he resorted upon using forbidden magic. He succumbed to despair. In our minds, we renounce the lies upon which our nation was built, but in our hearts yearn for the righteousness, misguided though it was, that gave us comfort and purpose for so long. So let's not forget who we were. Let us confront the mistakes of the past and learn from them. We do not repeat the mistakes of our forefathers. As fervently as we believe our sacred duty, we struggle to accept the Church's deception and embrace change. The legacy of Thornton weighs heavily, and there is temptation to simply cast aside like a mantle that suits us no longer. Indeed, yet that would dishonor the sacrifice of those who went before, countless souls who served the people of the purest intent. So heavy though it may be, let's bear this burden together and set forth anew. Our friend Coda risked life and limb to reveal the truth to us, the truth that our legends and our scripture were tainted by betrayal, but not wholly corrupted. Yeah, as simple as simply casting it aside would definitely solve the problem. That's kind of taking the easy way out. And I suppose we also have to acknowledge that the general medieval-esque, Renaissance-esque time frame that this game era would takes place in is definitely not one where they can simply not have a church. So that's also something to consider. I guess that just shows why Heavensward has such an interesting themes and ideas going on. Even now, it just has so many things they can explore with it. I can't blame people who still think Heavensward's their favorite, because it really did have a lot to go on there, and a lot of gray in the story. Sure, there was some absolute good and evil there. I mean, pretty much everyone on all sides agrees that the Knights of the Round were the bad guys, but that doesn't change that there was a lot of things, a lot of gray in the story. It's easy to appreciate. Though the great walls and towering spires of our city may have been built with murder and deception, the rest upon a foundation immutable and true. Our devotion to Halone, whom we've worshipped since before our forefathers settled this lands. The church is a font of practical wisdom, and teachings guide us in our daily lives. Such things define our faith no less than the lies. We can acknowledge our sins without renouncing the religion. Aye, and without rejecting who we are. A comprehensive review of scripture as well as historical literature will be necessary. Revisions, as appropriate, must be made to ensure the truth of our past to preserve for future generations. Yeah, at the end of the day, you could even take this scripture as itself a piece of literature. So, and like any piece of literature, you can there's always things you can read or take from it. With your peerless knowledge of church doctrine, I dare say none is better suited to leading the effort than you. I also expect many eyes will be required to pore over the tomes, and I know many idle men of women of faith who would jump at the chance to do Halone's work once more. That day so very long ago, I had no answer to my father's words, but it seems the people had it within them all along. Tis well Lord Emmerich interjected when he did. With this, the church and the people are taking their first steps toward a brighter future. Yeah, the way things are going, it's looking like the church is going to become another, aspect in the city. Well, actually, I don't know, to be completely honest. I had a whole thought there that I was going to go on and on about, but I honestly am not 100% sure. And maybe that's the point. Even I'm not sure what's going to happen within generations from now. Only time will tell. Maybe it'll work out, maybe things will just get worse. There's no way to know. Well, that council went better than I dare hope. Truly, while the details remain to be decided, 'twas a resounding success. Your words helped everyone find common ground. I know not how to thank you. Much credit must go to Coda. In the face of great hardship, never did he hesitate to press on. Our people will have not forgotten this. Indeed, why, I do remember the day you flew into Ishgard upon a dragon's back. Well, do I remember the day you flew into Ishgard upon a dragon's back? Making the impossible, you inspired us all. In you we glimpse the fury, a vision of courage in the face of uncertainty. Looking to your example, we shall endeavor to bring about change of the church, reach all Ishgardans. Will, of course, still be souls who struggle to rise above the mire of despair, but my fellows and I shall be there to take their hand in faith and love. For what is faith if not salvation? Well, you never know. Well, you don't know. That's why it's called faith. Well, I'd best return to the cathedral. We have much more to do. But ere I forget, I tracked down that which you requested. Some repairs will be necessary. It will be seen with all haste. I've tasked the deacon with finding a certain item, you see, a secret weapon, one might say. Given what we know about profane Fafnir, I suspect it will be great use in our hunt. Once the repairs are complete, we shall be ready to strike. With the church having reached an accord with the people, the risk of more clergymen being turned is greatly diminished. We may now focus entirely on the blasphemy. This time we freed Vandrew from his torment. Rest where we can, Coda, for I dare say the coming battle will demand the best of us. Now, there's just a lot to think about with Heavensward. And I guess for the record, I should state I am thinking about these things purely from the in-universe perspectives here. It's a lot harder to connect these with real-life things because, the entire expansion here was about us regular meeting with godlike beings, the ancients, and how their creation led to something that led to something that almost ended their own world, and that only mortals would be able to deal with. That just makes things a lot more complicated. But it also makes things very interesting, a lot more interesting as a result, or at least I think so. Ever march Heavensward. Here we go. Glad tidings, Coda. Since the council, not a single soul has been turned. Safe in that knowledge, I think we need only think of how to hunt down the blasphemy. Ah, Coda, you're here too. Excellent. I am pleased to say that our secret weapon is ready. We may now look to dealing with the profane Fafnir. So if I recall, when we last encountered it, it was lying in wait by the Soleil. An instinct driven by its inherited memories, I believe. It seeks to protect that which it most strongly associates with the Archbishop. In all likelihood, 'twas the same motive that compelled it to come to the Holy See, from the skies above, to keep watch over the Holy Vault. When it next descends, we shall exploit this instinct by using its secret weapon to lure it to the chancel. What exactly is the secret weapon? Soleil itself. It is none other than the Fury's Grace, the holy crozier of the Archbishop. Suspecting that Archbishop Bertineau retreated from Azizla, I had Deacon Clem search his private quarters. My suspicions proved correct. With a crozier in hand, with his staff, I shall make irresistible bait for the profane Fafnir. My lord, that's an inconceivable risk. There's no telling how the blasphemy will react. Indeed, but we must be confident that I will command his undivided attention, thus ensuring no more of our citizens can be placed in harm's way. If the Heavensward are the Archbishop's shields, and the Temple Knights are its people, as leader of the Order, the risk is mine to bear. There's also the fact he was functionally raised as the son of the Archbishop, which means he has a connection to him that might help. So it's actually really smart, since him holding the crozier, the staff, would make him seem most like the Archbishop now. All the knights in the Heavensward fell in Azizla. As a vessel for their memories, Vaindro may be considered the last of their number. Let us go with them and relieve him of his... okay. Their duty. Let us see to our preparations and proceed to the vault. We will finish this once and for all. Vault. Looks like we're going back to the most infamous dungeon of the game. Don't worry, I'm pretty sure I have all I need to win. Seems we have some others here ready. This is a summoner. When the battle begins, Lord Imric and I will draw the Blasphemy's attack. Seize the opportunity, bring your magic to bear against it. So basically, they're going to be the tank and I'm the DPS. Thanks to being a red mage, I also have self-heals, which by extension means I can sustain my... I have good enough self-sustain to not need a healer. If you're ready, let us forth. You need but say the word. I have the artifact gear from level 49 from the shop, which is what the final battle is designed, assuming you have, so I shouldn't be over-geared or under-geared. Here we go, Fafnir himself. The beast has come, now is our chance. The son of the Archbishop with his staff. Hopefully this can get him his attention. It even has Heavensward music, I love it. Make ready. Here it comes. To me, my knights. Blasphemy, profane, Fafnir. For the glory of King Thordan. What? I like that Endwalker gave custom weapon draw animations for these. You are not he. No, you are not he. A trick is a trick. Forgive me, Sir Vandrew. For the sake of all Ishgardens, we must strike you down. Here we go. Alright, here we go. Aymeric the Blue. Artorial Ironbone. Alright, time to hard cast this. The Archbishop no longer rules Ishgard. For the people... People shape our nation's future now. Oops, I messed that up really bad. Oh well, I got this. My divine flames will consume you. By the fury, Sir Charabar's magic, have care. Oh crap, Sir Charizard. Oh man, I love that.
You underestimate me.
Oops. Oh dear, I buggered that up really bad. It's okay, I got my own heals. Oh dang, that's a really strong heal for a paladin. Holy balls. In the name of Ishgard, we will free you from your torment. We need to separate for this. I should honestly probably be a lot more close, since I'm basically a melee job now, but... Fiction, your reckoning is come. Actually, this is perfect for me. Oh, he wants me in this one then.
Do not underestimate me.
Oopsie. Well, I can do this, actually. Honestly, I don't really need to. These guys have such good, strong healing. I'm guessing because... Well, probably because Summoner and Black Mage don't have any self-sustain. Also, I could be an idiot and not realize what he's doing. I need to stop being an idiot here.
We must stand our ground.
Here we are. I see, so this guy has the powers of the entire Knights of the Round. Interesting. Alright, I remember how this mechanic works. Perfect.
You underestimate me.
Ah, AoE. These are all AoEs, so... Come for the true power of the Heavensward.
I will not falter.
Let's use this to debuff him. That wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it'd be. Such power, we can... Oh, don't worry, I can also heal. Okay, good. Never mind, they had to hold themselves. And here I thought I was finally being useful to him. Oh my! Damage up. Okay, so he's got a soft enrage. Good, noted. Oh, I see what you're doing there, my friend. Okay, I don't know why I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, for a paladin, he's got a lot of white magic. Holy crap! Alright, that's the Sir Charizard spell. Feeling good about the damage I'm dealing at the very least. Then again, it's kind of hard to fail that. These fights are usually designed to be, they're a bit more forgiving than most of the raid, than any kind of raid or extreme fight would be. Okay, he's just gonna spam Lightning Storm until he dies now and then. There we are. Finished with the melee combo. Finally, it is over. Thus ends the tale of the Heavensward. Let it not be forgotten. It was wrong of them to conceal the truth of our nation's founding, to abet the Archbishop in his machinations. Yet, peering to their hearts, one thing became clear. They, too, had succumbed to the primal manipulation. They, too, were the victim. Flawed men, aye, but not without sin. British guardians brave and true, as we all aspire to be. Having triumphed in the battle of ideals, ICE have responsibility to all of our people. The hopes and dreams, their sorrow and suffering are mine to bear, and bear them I shall. Or had you not vanquished King Thornton, or had I erred in but one of my choices, I may have well been the first to succumb to despair, to be reborn as blasphemy. Now you wouldn't have turned, not you. Thank you, my friend, for having such confidence in me. My apologies, 'twas not mine intent to wax sentimental. Oh, don't worry, I've been doing it all stream. Our work here is done. Let us return to the congregation, then. Honestly, I did very, very poorly in that fight. I'm pretty sure I only won because, it's very difficult to lose a role quest fight, but win's a win, and maybe it's funny to watch me screw up all those mechanics. I don't know. Hopefully it was, anyway. Now where is it? This reminds me, I can't wait to see what the 24-player raid is going to be like. Well, that person's using the Shiva lance? Probably. I won't bother. I won't waste time here. I've already wasted enough waxing poetic and philosophy. Very, very surface level ones at all that. The common fan theory, I guess I should, since it's not out yet, I should say now. The common fan theory is that the 12 gods are probably just heroes of the ancients that have been lionized in some form. Or possibly something else. But yeah, that's a common fan theory. Yeah. Would certainly explain why they're revered as gods, since like the ancients, they would have had creation magic and all that to do stuff. But what got their legends to rise? All we know is that during Shadowbringer, Emmett Salk just refers to them as your 12. It's always possible they didn't exist at all and were just made up, but that seems a bit too simple. And this game, I like it, but it never makes anything simple. Everything has to have like 12 steps to it. Better for worse. I heard here as soon as I learned of your victory. There are some few words I would say, but can wait until Lord Toriel and Deacon Clem have spoken theirs. Coda, permit me to offer my gratitude for helping us overcome not only the blasphemy, but the despair which spawned it. This is only the beginning. On the face of it, we may have made tremendous strides in breaking down ancient barriers within our society, but there may yet be greater rifts to be bridged. It is no easy thing to rise above a lifetime of preconceptions and prejudice. I myself have struggled to do so as well, so you must know. But I shan't give up. On the honor of my house, I'll do everything in my power to build a new Wishguard, one which the people can see eye to eye regardless of birth and station. Now then, I believe the Deacon has some words for you too. Pray lend him an ear. My Lord Kota, may I say how glad I am that you are safe and well. Before you arrived, Lord Aymeric explained to me the true nature of the man who became the blasphemy. The poor, confused creature was born of the Church's mistakes. On behalf of the clergy, I give you my heartfelt thanks for laying it to rest. As we work to reform our institutions and rebuild our relationship with the people, we will remember to pray for all those who have fallen in service of the faith, and we shall pray for you as well. Whomever your path may lead, may the Fury ever watch, ever keep you. I shall leave it at that then. Aymeric too wishes to speak. It would not be good to keep him waiting. Let's not keep him waiting. Lord Aymeric has kept silent, but he also has thoughts to share. Kota, Lord Toriel, I thank you for the vital roles you play in ridding us of profane Fafnir. As ever, the sight of you in combat was nothing short of inspiring. Hey, it's what I'm here for. Now, with no further reported instances of people turning and the blasphemy itself no more, I should like to believe we're free of the scourge of despair. My brethren and I shall labor to see that it ever remains so by fighting to dispel the darkness in men's hearts. And I shall fight with you, not only as a speaker of the House of Lords or the Lord Commander of the Temple Knights, but as a man of faith. And regarding our people. Together, let us strive to fill our nation with hope. Kota, by now you'll be sick unto death of being thanked, but I must nonetheless express additional words of gratitude. Full oft have you saved our nation and our people. I speak not only of our lives, but our hearts and minds as well. You have given us a great gift, that of opportunity and choice, and if we are to repay you for it, we as a nation must take full advantage of our freedom to dictate a new cause forward for our future. What forward means, we may not always agree upon, but as fellow Wish Guardians, we shall find a way to rise above our differences and stand united. As the nation I will strive to build, this I swear to you. Given all you've done for us, I am loath to impose further. May I trouble you to bear over success to our officer at Razahan. We will of course be sending a report, but there's no substitute for a first-hand account. Our allies would benefit from the additional details you can provide as well. Our thanks again, my friend. May the Fury speed you on your way. Razahan's pretty expensive, about as expensive as it is to teleport to the moon of all places. So it should be interesting. Ah, Lakota, by your return, I dare hope the hunt for the blasphemy was a success. You don't need to worry about that blasphemy anymore. The witch has been slain. That you would vanquish the beast comes to a little surprise, but this occasion would serve as an impetus to the church to embark upon a path of reform is incredible. I'll share these joyous tidings with our allies without delay. If I may speak candidly, I must confess that being a great admirer of yours, when you have a moment, I should like to hear about some of your adventures, if you do me the honor. For the present, however, my official capacity as an Ishgardian delegate, I offer you my humblest thanks for your immeasurable service to our nation. Excellent. I can't die these because I glamored over all of them, but still, more than fear. Achievements here. Oh, that was a PvP one. Am I 4? Oh, Drone Sniper. I have the title of Drone Sniper. Interesting. Well, that's another role quest down, another seasonal, and I think that's a good time to call the stream now that we've done basically everything that I was set out to do tonight. Don't really have anything major pressing to do now, so I guess that'll be all for now. Alright, thank you for watching, hope you had a good time, and I'll see you later.